Yeah. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I request everybody to take the seats. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, delegates, and esteemed participants. I am Dr. Manasa, Assistant Professor in the Department of Emergency Medicine, St. John's Medical College Hospital. We gather here today celebrating the completion of 60 years of St. John's Medical College and completion of 25 years of Emergency Medicine Department. To mark these two joyous events, we have a 2-day CME and the much awaited Sim Wars ahead of us. A warm welcome to the momentous CME, where we gather to celebrate the remarkable advancements in emergency care and to explore the transformative potential of life-saving therapies and new frontiers in emergency medicine. Let us begin this event by invoking the divine presence through a song. I would like to request Maggie and the nursing team of St. John's Emergency Department to render the invocation song.
Thank you, Mansa. A very good morning to everyone assembled here. And it's a really proud and joyous occasion for us, being the Diamond Jubilee of St. John's Medical College and the Silver Jubilee of the Emergency Medicine Department, which it's a happy coincidence that both the years have coincided. And that's why we have planned this inaugural function commemoration ceremony of the Silver Jubilee and the CME. On this occasion, I welcome all of you, and I would like to invite Reverend Father John Verghese Tekekara, our Associate Director Hospital, to please come and take his place on the dais. I invite Reverend Father Dr. Charles Davis, our Associate Director of St. John's Medical College, to please come and occupy the dais. As the dignitaries occupy the dais, I request our department members to please hand over a memento to the dignitaries. I request Dr. George D'Souza, Dean of St. John's Medical College, to please come on to the dais. Dr. Tony Raj, Dean of the St. John's Research Institute, please come and join them on the dais. And Dr. Arvind Kasturi, our Chief of Medical Services, to please join them. I welcome Sister Ria Emmanuel, our Chief of Nursing Services, extremely very important part of the emergency department. Please come and join the other departments. A special warm welcome to Dr. Mabel Vasnaik, who is our guest of honor today and will be delivering the keynote address later. And I request Dr. Mabel to occupy the dais along with the other dignitaries. The formal introduction will follow later, but to me, Dr. Mabel has been at various times, different people, various things to me. So she has been a senior faculty, she has been my teacher, she has been my mentor, colleague, and a dear friend. So any CME, the charm and power of any CME is only up to the participants, or it depends on the enthusiastic participation of the delegates. So I warmly welcome all the delegates to our SimWars CME. I hope you have a very enjoyable learning experience and have fun along the way as well. I wish to welcome all other faculty for the CME, as well as faculty of St. John's, and some of the faculty have come from elsewhere, who are from other institutions in Bangalore and outside. So welcome to them. Welcome to all other personnel and staff of St. John's, all the departments, those who have come here to support us today. And to all our students, emergency medicine technicians, our nursing staff, whoever else from our institution who is here today. So thank you all for coming, and I hope you have a good day. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am, for the warm welcome note and briefing the purpose of our CME. Now, let us proceed to the lamp lighting ceremony, symbolizing the illumination of knowledge and wisdom in our pursuit of better patient care. I request the dignitaries on stage to kindly light the ceremonial lamp. I also request Dr. Shakuntala Murthy to join the dignitaries on the dais in lighting of the lamp. It is now my pleasant duty to invite Reverend Father Dr. John Burgess, Associate Director of St. John's Medical College Hospital and the College of Nursing, to deliver the inaugural address.
Good morning, everyone. Reverend Dr. Charles Davis, the Associate Director of the College, Dr. George, the Dean, Dr. Arvind, the Chief of Medical Services, Sister Ria, the Chief of Nursing Services, Dr. Tony Raj, the Dean of SDRI, the eminent faculty of and HOD of Emergency Medicine Department and all other departments, and invited guests and delegates. I'm very delighted to be here this morning with you all, not just because it is emergency medicine conducting the CME, but it is a Silver Jubilee CME of the department. It is one of the pioneering units in Karnataka to start the postgraduate training in emergency medicine. And we have really achieved a lot, and we have all the reasons to celebrate also. Now our alumni are leading the emergency medicine departments of some of the major hospitals. It's a proud moment for the Department of Emergency Medicine. We are all together in congratulating the department for its track record and success. We have an outstanding department, emergency medicine in St. John's. Of course, emergency is unique in its nature, but people, when they have some emergency, who have gone to different hospitals in Bangalore and have not met any solution, will finally look upon St. John's Emergency Department as the last word or the final recourse for them. That means our expertise is quite good, and we are doing a wonderful and dedicated service. I remember in some of the meetings in university, Dr. Girish was questioned by some of the experts there. Are you trying to specialize into all small branches of emergency medicine? That means we have got expertise to take it into very minute and micro specialities. So every aspect of emergency medicine is well trained and well taken care here. That's why whenever we get applicants for clinical training or posting, they all ask if there is a vacancy in emergency medicine. And we have to often put on many of them saying that we can't take too many into emergency medicine. But they all come from far and wide to join our department because they know that if they come here, they will get good experience and there are well fit mentors to train them. So our deep sense of congratulations to the department. And I wish all the best to these 2 days event. Welcome very cordially the delegates from outside St. John's to this green and beautiful campus of St. John's. As part of the Diamond Jubilee, I think the intense celebrations are happening these days. As many things usually start in emergency, the intense celebration starts with the emergency medicine CME here. So all the best to all the participants and good wishes to the organizers. May God bless this event.
Thank you very much, sir, for that inspiring note. We are truly grateful for your presence here with us today. Thank you, sir. I would now request Reverend Father Dr. Charles Davis, the Associate Director of St. John's Medical College, to kindly deliver an inaugural message.
Reverend Dr. John Varghese, Dr. George, Dr. Arvind Kasuri, Sister Ria, Dr. Tony Raj, Dr. Mabel, Dr. Shakuntala, members of the faculty of the Department of Emergency Medicine, other faculty members, delegates, participants. A return to the roots is the theme of Diamond Jubilee celebrations. And it is a happy and joyous occasion and a coincidence that we are returning to the root of the Department of Emergency Medicine, where it started 25 years ago. When we return to the roots, we are reminded of the vision, mission, objectives of whatever we inaugurate and start. Today is an occasion to happily remember those people who thought, visualized, and made a reality of this department. And I congratulate the department for doing life-saving act through this department. Happy Silver Jubilee of the Department of Emergency Medicine. These days, since we are celebrating in this particular week, a Diamond Jubilee week, we have beautifully decorated the college. When we have time, end of the day after long learning through CME today, walk around, see the lights, enjoy the beauty, and return to the roots. And I think Dr. Mabel herself is joining. So more and more alumni will be here. And I wish each one of you a happy time, enjoyable learning, and God bless. Thank you.
Thank you, Father, for those words. I request the Dean of St. John's Medical College, Dr. George D'Souza, to kindly deliver an inaugural address.
Father John, our Associate Director of the hospital, Father Charles, Associate Director College, Dr. Arvind Kasturi, the Chief of Medical Services, Dr. Tony Raj, the Dean of the Research Institute, Sister Ria, the Chief of Nursing Services, Dr. Mabel, an old faculty and guest of honor, Dr. Shagantala Murthy, of the department, other faculty, and their participants. At the outset, I'd like to welcome all, particularly the alumni and the faculty to St. John's for this Diamond Jubilee celebrations. And that's an interesting coincidence that this is also the Silver Jubilee of the Emergency Medicine Department. In a way, the Emergency Medicine Department's growth has reflected the growth of St. John's. I remember when I first came here as a junior resident, we had a small emergency run by junior doctors in the current pediatric surgery department. It was a one-room affair. Today, it's grown just like St. John's has grown into a beautiful place, which is the envy of many people who come to this institution. And from whatever I've heard from the patients also, they feel this transition is good. And the department, as said, has grown alongside and now offers postgraduate training, probably one of the first in Karnataka, but now, of course, there are other places because it's mandatory from the MCI perspective. The Emergency Medicine Department owes this growth to Dr. Mabel and Dr. Shakuntala, and more recently to Dr. Girish. I think they have been the backbone behind this growth of the emergency department, both in terms of the training that is being provided, the services that are being provided, and the infrastructure that has grown over this period of time. And I think you need to give them a big hand for that. The emergency department has always been involved in training, and it has been involved in training for our undergraduates and postgraduates other than outside the emergency. Before starting postgraduate program, they used to run fellowships, and this fellowship used to be the springboard for many a person to launch themselves abroad. I think they used to do the masters in emergency medicine or something like that. And so many people came to do this training and have had not only a good experience, have been able to future careers in emergency. I think that credit also goes to this department. This CME is a good reason for alumni, staff, and everyone to get together and reflect what has happened, and also to bring together different groups of people so that more connections can be developed as we enter our Diamond Jubilee. I wish the CME all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for those kind words. We have with us here today Sister Sajita Muthedan, Principal of St. John's College of Nursing. Sister, please join us on the dais. I now request our beloved Dr. Arvind Kasturi, the Chief of Medical Services, to kindly address us with a few words.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Well, almost 35 years back, I recollect an incident when a close relation of mine, I was at the rural health center in a clinic away from here, about 35 kilometers away, and I got a call. A close relation of mine was having acute chest pain somewhere near the airport, Yelahanka area. And I didn't know what to do. And I called a good friend of mine who was the director of a hospital in that area and said, "Sir, this is what is happening. There's somebody there, acute chest pain." And he said, "Arvind, don't worry. Tell her to come here. We'll take care." And I felt a great sense of relief at that message. And I conveyed that to my relation. She went there. And of course, good things happened. Today, in the position where I'm sitting currently, I'm extremely grateful to Dr. Shakuntala and her team for making it possible for us to say this to people who call me. We get calls from the government, we get calls from so many people. And one of my, almost on my favorites list is Girish, emergency. And I say, "Girish, there's this happening." And he says, "Don't worry, sir, we'll take care." And I cannot overemphasize how happy we are with the ability on our part to tell patients of any type with any problem to come to St. John's boldly, because we have our Department of Emergency Medicine and what they do. So I would also add to what has been said here. I'm grateful to Dr. Mabel for setting this up so many years back, Dr. Shakuntala and team for being my favorite contacts on my mobile phone at all times, and for the entire department to rally around and be there for those who come in an emergency. I think that is one of the greatest services that this hospital has to provide. And if today we are able to say that we are able to take care of so many people, a large portion of that is because of our Department of Emergency Medicine. So on behalf of those of us sitting in the hospital, administering to that huge organism, it's with great feeling of gratitude that I say thank you to the Department of Emergency Medicine. Have a wonderful CME. Welcome to all the delegates who've come from far and wide. Take some time to look at our campus, smell the flowers, and say hello to the various friends that you might have here. God bless. Have a lovely day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for those inspirational words. Now I wish to introduce our guest of honor, Dr. Mabel Vasnaik, Chairperson of Accident and Emergency, Manipal Hospital. Dr. Mabel Vasnaik is both an undergraduate and postgraduate from St. John's. She did her MD Anesthesia in St. John's and worked in the anesthesiology department for 5 years. She then started the emergency department in St. John's in the year 1998, becoming the founding head of the department, and has worked in the ER for 13 years till 2011. She did an international scholarship program in the emergency department at Stanford Hospital in California to help understand the functioning of an ER. This was sponsored by the St. John's North American Alumni Chapter. She is now the head of the emergency department at Manipal Hospital, Old Airport Road, Bangalore, which has an active DNB program in emergency medicine. I request Dr. Mabel Vasnaik to deliver the keynote address.
We want to listen, but we have to go to another. This would be lovely.
This button. You can use this one. It's not coming on.
Reverend Fathers in absentia, George, Tony, Arvind, they've been old friends, and Shaku. Thanks, Shaku, for calling me here. It's a moment of pride being here at our 25th anniversary. Takes me back. I put this first slide as 25 years, and it's a wooded area. It's a dark area. And that's exactly what all of us felt when we started the emergency department. I, for one, had no clue what emergency was about. I was quite happy. I was doing my cardiac anesthesia, loved the anesthesia department. And then Dr. Mary called me one day and she said, would you, we want to start an emergency department and would you do it? So I said, ma'am, but I don't know what, I don't know what I'm in for. And she said, no, that's the future. You take up the emergency. And I would never, if anyone else had asked me, I would have said no. But to Dr. Mary, I would never say no, because I believed that whatever she would want of me would be for my good. So she was my mentor, my guide, my friend. I did not have a good enough picture. I had a lovely picture of her and me, but then I couldn't find it. So I did not put any picture of her. She's in all our minds. So this is also particularly dedicated to her, because it's because of her that, it actually all started, and Father Percy also. Okay, so it was a dark alley. We didn't know where we were going. And in the late 1990s, emergency medicine was a new concept in India. Only CMC Vellore had this dedicated emergency department. And St. John's also wanted to start the emergency department because, so it was, like I said, it was a new challenge. But the reason St. John's, we had a casualty, like George told us. We had a small little place where the present pediatric surgery department is. It was manned by junior staff. All of us have worked there as interns. We would look after patients who came with MIs. I'm sure I couldn't recognize an MI at that point of time. But yes, we looked after patients. I don't know how we managed the trauma, but we did. And it was like everyone's place. Yeah, so we had inadequate space. There was absolutely no concept of triage, and the equipment was inadequate. So it was just right that St. John's wanted to start an emergency. And so, so it transitioned from a casualty to an emergency department on the 3rd of July, 1998. That's when we went, and this was the place. Do you all recognize this? This is where your emergency was just before you all have moved. But it probably didn't look like this, no, because it was done up. But this was exactly where the first emergency was. So overnight, we just moved from that pediatric place to this emergency. Okay, and yeah, so these were our first batsmen. There was Dr. Shashiraj E and Dr. Mahesh. When Dr. Mary asked me to do emergency, and they gave us this trauma. The area that they gave us was actually supposed to be a trauma unit. So there was an ICU over there. And I didn't have too much ICU experience. So I spent like 2 months with Dr. Sampath in the ICU. And I met Dr. Shashi and Dr. Mahesh. And I said, please, will you come and help me and join the emergency? They weren't too willing. But, I said, come try, let's try. So Shashi and Mahesh were the opening batsmen. Mahesh Samar in Bangalore, I called him, but I don't think he's come. Then Dr. Karanth and Dr. Guru, they were from anesthesia. So they were sent to us. And we had Dr. Anup. Anup was the orthopedician. He was with us, and Deshi and Smriti then joined later. Deshi's here. And he had Dr. Nupur, who was the CMO in the old casualty. So she moved with us to the emergency department. So if I missed any names, then we had lots of people who then followed. But these were our first batsmen. So like I said, the ER wing was originally planned to be a trauma wing. And then because they decided to start an ER, an emergency department, they gave us that wing. And there was an ICU there, and that ICU was actually done up. Sister Ellen Murray had done up that ICU. It had ventilators and all. And because that ICU was there, I thought, we'll keep it, because emergency medicine was not a specialty. There were no ER physicians. Who was going to be willing to come and work in an ER? So the physicians who came, like Shashi and Mahesh, they came because of the ICU. They were happy. And even when Dr. Shaku and all came later, the incentive was the ICU, because all medicine people wanted to keep in touch with medicines. Huh? They weren't used to just, they wanted to stay and play and not just scoop and run like it's done in the emergency department. So it was retained as an incentive for the physicians. And initially, we had a few medicine specialists and anesthesia specialists. So when they rotated, they would rotate through medicine and through anesthesia. So when they rotated, we'd get doctors from medicine and anesthesia to come and be in the ER with us. They weren't very happy, but Father Percy, Dr. Mary, Father Prem, Dr. Prem, they'd kind of insist it happened. So reluctantly they came. And then when we stood on our own feet up sometime, they stopped coming. In fact, initially when Shaku joined, she also used to go through emergency. And when she was posted, she used to go to medicine. And I saw her one day, Shaku, you've lost so much weight. She said, I'm climbing up and down those 5 floors every day so many times. And that's why I have. So everybody rotated through their parent departments. This was what our ICU looked like. And this is Dr. Mahesh, and these were our ventilators. And the bare ventilators, the old bare ventilators. So she's seeing a patient in the ICU. And this is Shashi. Shashi was, this was our resuscitation area. So we had a small resuscitation area. And he was looking after, this is a picture I found, luckily. So setting up a new department, it was given a department status, and there was opposition. There was opposition from senior faculty. And one of the reasons is that the casualty was everyone's baby. They could come, they could do what they wanted. And here we wanted a closed ER. So, they didn't like the idea that we were admitting patients without them actually coming and seeing the patients. But with strong management support, right from the beginning, we managed to keep it as a closed ER. And it's been working that way ever since. So we really had very strong support from Dr. Mary and Father Percy, and later on from Father Kalam and Father Lawrence as well. So big thank you to them. So emergency, so I talked about medicine, and I was from an anesthesia background. And one of the things I said, but I want to keep in touch with anesthesia. So madam said, we'll give you an OT. And I had this, I like the Drager ventilator. So they gave me a very nice Drager ventilator. And they said, okay, so you can do your anesthesia also, but look after the ER. But I realized that it took away a lot of time from the ER. You can't be sitting in an OT when you have patients coming to the ER. But it did take me time to break the umbilical, to cut the umbilical cord from anesthesia. And then in that ER, in that OT, it was a nice OT. We were doing elective cases, not just emergency cases. And I remember once Dr. Tony Pice was doing a patient with a CA breast. So the mastectomy was done. And then a couple of days later, he went to look for the specimen for the report. The nurse in the ER in the OT has chucked away the specimen. It was not sent to pathology. So, that's when I realized that this is not on, and we cannot have an emergency OT. We cannot do elective cases when we are not equipped to do it. We are not trained. So that, and then it stayed, I think it stayed for a long time where we just do a few emergency cases, not really anesthesia cases, but we used it. Okay, so emergency medicine, like it was not recognized by the MCI. There were no training, postgraduate training programs, no board certified emergency physicians. So we had to have, all of us were from other specialties, joined the emergency for some reason or the other, and grew to like emergency. We started a fellowship program in emergency medicine with SEMI, the Society for Emergency Medicine. And it's very heartening that the doctors who worked, who joined emergency, who did the fellowship program, are over here. One of Priyanka, Jidu, Tanvir are all here. They did the program with us and they went on to specialize in emergency medicine. Kiran, Sir Sajid. So many of them. So it's heartening that junior doctors who joined us grew to like emergency. They specialized in emergency and they've made it their career at a time when emergency medicine was not being offered as a specialty in the country. Okay. So we had a formal exit exam, etc. So challenges were establishment of emergency medicine. We struggled a lot through the initial years, talking to the MCI, talking to the DNB board, because the main idea was to get emergency recognized. The people in the MCI did not realize that emergency was so important that when faced with an emergency, you cannot go to a casualty that's manned by junior doctors. You need specialists, just like you need cardiologists and orthopedicians and general physicians, etc. You need people who know what to do in an emergency. So emergency medicine was a much needed specialty in this big country of ours. And it took many years to actually convince them about it. There was no pre-hospital emergency care either. We had ambulances. In fact, our own ambulances, George, he's no more, may his soul rest in peace. He used to take our ambulance, used to go early in the morning to the market to buy vegetables. You remember, Arvind? No. So that's what even our ambulance would do. So there was no concept about what actually an ambulance should be. There was no equipment, life-saving drugs in it, manned by untrained personnel, and all this has changed through the years. So emergency medicine, we had the Society of Emergency Medicine in India that started in 1999 and started having the annual national conferences. Then we had the American Academy for Emergency Medicine. So all the Indians who were settled in the US and were doing emergency medicine, they joined together and they formed ARMY, and they helped us a lot initially in setting up emergency medicine in India. And they would have an international conference once in 4 years. In St. John's, our ER did the second national emergency conference in Bangalore in 2000. And we made like 15 lakhs profit, which was a great amount those days. We bought mannequins. So we bought mannequins and started the ACLS and BLS program under the American Heart Association. University of Minnesota, our alumni from there helped us. We started that. So we were one of the first hospitals, I think second or third hospital in India to start the BLS and ACLS programs under the AHA. And Shaku has, continued it and gone on from there. After MCon, we've done 2 more conferences. I was so exhausted with MCon, even though I was so much younger. And I don't know how Shaku did 2 more conferences, one state level and 1 national level. So after that, I've not put that because that you all know about. I should have brought chocolates. See, there are 4 of us who were there as in John's and started the AHA. And 4 of us have moved on to be regional faculty for the AHA. 4 of us from here. Can you all recognize us? Come quickly. Babu sir, good. Lakshmi, who said Lakshmi? Good for you. Then you all can't find Shaku and me. Okay, this is me. Have I changed so much? And here's Shaku. She's closed her eyes. She said, I don't want these pictures. Okay. Yeah. Then with the proceeds of the conference, we started this emergency corpus fund. And this corpus fund, Father Percy had kept for us with this proceeds of this conference. And we used to use it for poor patients. So poor patients who couldn't afford, I just had to call the director's office and they would give us money. I mean, they would pay the patient's bill. Then we got a rotary ambulance that was donated by Mr. Radhe Agarwal. It was a big, huge ambulance and we would use it. It belonged to the ER. And Ravi Milwani used to give us 5,000 rupees every month and he used to say, use it for poor patients. And before I forget, after a couple of years after I did the emergency, Father Percy said, I've got good news for you. I've got something for you. And he called me and gave me a letter. And he said, in appreciation for all that you've done, I'm going to give you a special pay every month. And he gave me 500 rupees every month. And I was so happy with that because, it was the thought of, it was a thought that mattered. It wasn't really the 500. And then much later, that 500 stopped coming after Father Percy left. I actually went and asked for it because it meant so much. Okay. So this was a book that we wrote, Essentials of Emergency Medicine. What we did is we made protocols, different protocols for different patients, like a head injured patient coming to us. How would we manage the patient? But we involved the neurosurgeons also. So all the treatment protocols we had were in conjunction with the other specialties of the hospitals. We had a nice protocol file, and then we said, why don't we publish it? So we published it, and we also published our proceeds of the MCon. And then now Dr. Shaku has gone on to publish a beautiful book on emergency medicine, which is bought by a lot of people. We had this exchange program that they've already spoken about. Like I said, I had no clue about emergency medicine. So in Stanford, I had, it was a nice program where I was in a department that was established and was actually practicing emergency medicine for a long time. Can anyone tell me who this is? Not Priyanka, because I told her. Anybody? You'll all read his book. I'm sure you'll read his book even now. A hint, toxicology. This is Dr. Goldfrank, yeah. So he signed this book and gave it to me to bring back for our department. And this was one of the conferences we had. Here again is one of the conferences we went for. Shaku and me, much like younger. Incidentally, I'm wearing the same sari. Okay. So then we decided to renovate the emergency department. And to renovate the department, we moved to this IP entrance. You know, the IP entrance? We took all our staff, including our ICU and our ventilators. And I think for like 3-4 months we were there. It was very difficult, but somehow we managed. And this was renovated. And this was the new department. I used this as my slide for all my talks for the longest time. I forgot to take it out when I sent it to her yesterday. So this was our ER entrance, which all of you all are very familiar with. And this is one of the pictures that I had. I found these slides. I found these pictures when I was looking for pictures. Shaku and me had gone to Anuradhapura and Sri Lanka. We'd gone to help them to do, you remember, Shaku? We had gone to help them to do some BLS, ACLS, and some training programs. So I found a few pictures and I thought for old time's sake, we'll put it there. Okay. So the two stalwarts, we had a lot of them. Praveen is here, Raghu. But the two actual stalwarts in our ER was Dr. Shaku and Dr. Babu. Babu's not here now. Babu was here for a long time, and then once I left, and even before that, Dr. Shaku took over. She stood tall, and she's looked after the ER all these years and brought it to what it is today. So thank you very much. I know it's your baby as well as mine, but you really stood in with it. Yeah, like she said, Kutapa, her husband, and I were colleagues in anesthesia. And then when Dr. Shaku came back from the UK, Mary told her to join ER, and she joined ER, and luckily she liked it, and she's been there ever since. So the other milestone is Aisha, our first MD emergency medicine candidate. We struggled so much to get that MD seat. We sat there with that person, whoever had come from the MCI what do you call them? Yeah, to inspect us. Till 1:30 in the night, he kept us there. he kept on asking for more and more and more things. It was so weird. Shaku and I were there like till 1:30, and then he let us go. When everything was in place, we had such a beautiful department, and still he hassled us, but the result was Aisha. So it was worth all those hours spent with him. I'm so glad you came today, Aisha. And this is my Nalandar, or our Nalandar, Shekhar and John. Praveen's picture I did not have. Okay, where are they? I saw Nalandar somewhere. So they were, they were always there for us. They were our attenders. And these are our three people from our department who passed away. Sister Rita, she used to look after that ER so well. In fact, when we got like small cakes, someone would give us a little bit. And I'd say, sister, it's not enough for anyone. Don't worry, ma. God will multiply it. So she'd cut it into tiny, tiny pieces and see that everyone got it. Then somehow she'd gather old clothes, and if anyone came and didn't have clothes, poor people, she would give it to them. So that Sister Rita Gana was one of our residents, Ganapati, and he passed away. And Lata was, I must say, one of the stalwarts of the ER. She was there with us. She did everything we'd wanted to, and she died so young. So may their souls rest in peace. Okay, so now since this is a CME, if you'll permit me just another 10 minutes to talk about something that I'm very passionate about, and I think it's important for an emergency department, and that is quality. So emergency medicine in India began its journey around 1996. A quarter century has passed. Thanks for being here. So we have MD and DNB courses. We have the qualification, but do we have the respect and the recognition? Okay, so how are we going to get respect and recognition? How do we ensure that? Quality is the only answer. Quality of our departments and of ourselves. So what is quality? Is it an NABH or an ISO certification? We all have now ERs are accredited, but is it only the certification that ensures our quality? No, it is us. Okay, what is quality? It's a commitment to service, accurate treatment, and most important is patient satisfaction, patient safety and satisfaction. I say this many times, that if you have a pain in your hip or you have a pain in your knee, you will find the best orthopedician and make an appointment and go. But in the middle of the night, when you have an accident, you go to the nearest hospital, the ER of the nearest hospital. Similarly, you're having some palpitations, chest pain, you will find the best cardiologist. But in the middle of the night, when you're having an MI, you go to the nearest hospital. So it's so important. Patient safety, patient satisfaction, to train ourselves and to give the best to patients. And that's where our quality comes from. But the harsh reality is care is often far too unsafe and quality is too inconsistent. Why is quality inconsistent? Can anyone tell me? Because we don't take the trouble to update ourselves and ensure that we know, it is our knowledge that ensures our quality and the care we take. And also, we work in a chaotic environment. There are numerous sound bites of information and distraction. You know how the ER is. It's so chaotic. It's so many patients coming at all the time, or coming in at all times. Also, there's a rapidly exploding medical knowledge, difficult to keep in touch with everything, and lack of clinical expertise. But remember, your department is only as good as the quality systems you have in place. So if the St. John's ER is getting so many accolades, it's because Dr. Shaku has insisted or has made sure that there are quality systems there in place. So medical errors happen. No one causes harm on purpose. It's most often a systems failure, not individuals. It's our systems that fail, resulting in problems. So identify weakness in your systems and redesign to minimize harm, which all of us can do. So it's a structure that's important, a process, the structures, the resources we use, then the process, what we do to our patients, and the outcome, what happens to the patients as a result of our care. So these are the quality, this is what the quality performance indicators are based on. So the structures, your department, the layout, the ambience, your triage, time taken for lab tests, ECGs, X-rays. Is the patient in the department for more than 180 minutes? Why is the patient there? Do you not have beds? Is your discharge process not over? So why is there a delay in the ER? Prompt and accurate billing and discharge. Sometimes the patients are there because billing and discharge is not happening. So why is that so? All these will improve. So this is the structure that goes towards your quality. Okay. So ER is a process-rich environment. So the process, doctors and nurses, their knowledge, skills, appearance, communication. You can never overemphasize communication. Okay. You have to communicate with patients. You have to communicate with their attenders because they are not OPD patients. Suddenly an emergency has hit them and they've come to your ER. So they are anxious. They irritate you, but you have to be nice to them. You have to talk to them, tell them what is happening. So prompt pain relief is very important. Diagnosis, treatment of MI. So these are all the patients that will bring down your complaints and will lead to patient overall satisfaction. What's your outcome? How do you measure it? So percentage of ED visits with adverse drug reactions. It's good to do audits. It's good to keep these data, revisits, how many revisits for the same complaint, procedural complications, deaths in the department. So if we audit all these things, we know where our errors are, and then we would circumvent them. Focus on problem areas. Recognize the quality concerns of your ED. The quality concerns of your ED will not be the quality concerns of Sergeant's ED. Okay? Although things will be similar, but recognize the flaws and what is not there in your ED, categorize errors, worry about what is not, what if, what will happen later, worry about the present, what is, and always make your performance data-driven. Okay, trial and error is not an option. Identify your prevention strategies and do it. Patient comfort is very important. Assure patient comfort from the minute of arrival in the ED, and prompt and effective pain relief. So you'll have C-zone patients. All they've come is with abdominal pain or severe back pain, but that is most important to them. They don't care that there's a trauma or an MI that you're managing. They want that pain to be looked after. So if you immediately look after the pain, they are happy. Okay. And there are so many hospitals. There are so many emergency departments. Earlier on, it was only St. John's, but now there are so many. So quality service will differentiate EDs in the future. People will choose their EDs. The neighborhood will go to the closest hospital, but the hospital that is good because there are so many close hospitals now. So what are the common problem areas? High risk intubations, procedures, high volume, medication errors. No, they still happen. Elderly patients, admitted patients. When the patient is admitted and waiting to get a bed, they are still your patients. Handed over patients are your patients. Don't give stepmotherly treatment. Till the patient moves out of the ED, he is your patient that you have to look after. Discharged patients, okay? They're waiting to go. Do something. I know all of us are busy in the emergency, but our patients are very important. Focused audits. So on chest pain, intubations, do focused audits. So you know what exactly your lacunae are. Who's this boy? I've forgotten his name. Madhu, is it? Really? Okay. Okay. So design your process changes, educate staff and implement changes. Then point of care lab testing is very important because it decreases ER stay. No, we have the stat labs, the CBC, the cardiac biomarkers, the ABGs. They're so important because you can get an immediate diagnosis. At least immediately you can stabilize your patient. So point of care equipment and emergencies, very important. It decreases the length of ED stay and also ED staffing. If we can improve, nursing superintendent is here. I don't know what your nursing ED staffing is, but we always need more staff. Having more nurses in the emergency makes a big difference, just like having doctors, but more so having nurses, trained nurses who look after patients. So quality is an internally driven, not an external mandate. It's not because Dr. Shaku is telling you that you have to have, improve your quality. It should come from within each of us. We want to improve quality. Why have you all done medicine? Answers? Who was the focus when you did medicine? A patient, no? Isn't it? So when you improve your quality, it is for your patient. And the department should take care of its improved performance, not because management is asking you. And like what you do. I like going to work every day. And I'm sure Dr. Shaku likes coming to work every day because we like our departments. We like what we've chosen. So like what you do. This is the specialty you have chosen. It has fixed hours. It's hectic while it lasts. And there is stress, but it's healthy stress. Okay. The primary focus, like I said, is your patient, and communicate. If you communicate with the attenders, they will not irritate you. Your annoyance will come down. And enjoy the special flavor of emergency medicine. Emergency medicine is special. It's not like, I'm not saying because I've been in ER, I didn't realize it's 25 years that I've also been in ER. But emergency medicine has a special flavor. So enjoy the flavor of emergency medicine. It's not like other departments. Why? Because the patient comes to you in distress. He's suddenly hit with something and he comes to you. Okay, so he needs you more than anyone else does. Yeah, so this was our motto, he shall live because of me. This is the St. John's motto. And when we were, during our ragging, they would say, you have to say that he shall live in spite of me, or I shall live because of him. You know, that's what we had to say. But I can proudly say that through my career, a lot of people, I can say, have lived because of me. So that's doing the St. John's motto proud. And all of you all also, I'm sure, will be saying the same thing, especially all of you all in the ER. Yes, they do live because of us. Okay. And okay. So one of my residents recently, one of the JRs we had, he called me and said, ma'am, I can't come to work today. So I said, why? What's happened to you? I'm burnt out. I said, what is the meaning of burnt out? There's no word called burnt out. Just get up and come to work. Just put off my phone, I think so. So I said, nothing called burnt out. It's just an abused and misused word. You come to work. And then I think I told that to Shaku one day, and I was thinking, if these bachas are burnt out, we should be charred and over by now for the number of years we've been here. Okay, so take off that word stress, take off that word burnt out from your minds. Foster team spirit among all the stakeholders. So doctors, nurses, technicians, housekeeping, Nalandar, Sheikh, everybody is so important. A tribute to all the nurses, Lavina, Teresa, Flora, and all those whose names I've missed. Nurses are very important. Train your nurses and involve them in quality projects. And acknowledge everyone are leaders. Everyone in your department are leaders because they take over after you, isn't it? And they are leaders on that shift. So you have to instill leadership in all of them. Like Manjula, we work together, and Manjula's assistant medical superintendent, I was so proud when I heard that. So quality requires leadership commitment, and leaders should live quality tenets by example. And the best example is Dr. Shaku, who walks the talk, isn't it? All these years, she has walked the talk. And taken the ER to the, taken it to the heights where it is. It is a multidisciplinary approach. ER is not a hospital in a hospital. Although we look after all kinds of patients, we have to have interdepartment interactions. We have to cross boundaries for improved performance. And we have to create quality improvement teams. And service is a quality standard in the emergency. Just remember that. Okay, so why good communication? Because attenders are restless, they need to know what is happening, they are anxious, and you build confidence and trust when you communicate well with them. So the emergency department must be a place where patients feel cared for, that provides high quality emergency patient care, attracts and maintains personnel with necessary skills and attitudes. And if you make your department a nice place to work in, then your people will stay with you. They will work with you. And strive to continuously improve service. Okay, so I put this in the last slide because, because eventually, you saw that, Girish, because eventually at some point, I'm not saying Dr. Shaku, but I'm saying we'll have to hand over the baton to Girish. So we won't be there for the golden jubilee, Girish. Or maybe we will, but might not be able to walk. So the department has to reach even greater heights. So it's all in your hands eventually, okay? This is a bird's eye view of St. John's. So when I was in the hot in 1980 batch, So this was one of Father Percy's photograph of a bird's eye view of St. John's that he had taken. And thank you. This is St. John's. Okay. And all people have come here because there are real emergency questions, have taken the time off and spent this time here with us. I'm trying to thank you once again.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for that very, very inspiring speech and taking us back a long time in the history of setting up emergency department at St. John's. We now have a few messages from the alumni of this prestigious department. Anybody from the audience who wants to say a few words about the emergency department? Yes, Dr. Priyanka. Yes, ma'am. Good morning, everyone. I'm Dr. Priyanka. I have worked here in this prestigious institution from 2007 to 2010. And I'm probably one of the few people who had the honor of doing rounds with both Dr. Mabel and Dr. Shakuntala in the same place. And we all have a lot of memories to go with Praveen sir and Shrikant sir, Raghu sir, and we all have come a long way from then. So John's will always be very close to us. And even though we moved from John's to various other places, this is still home ground for all of us. And we all still live and we all mostly practice what we started off in John's here those many years back. So thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'ams and sirs. And to all my colleagues, all those who could make it here and also all those who couldn't make it here. Thank you, Jeedu, for pushing me on stage. So thank you all.
MD medicine. So it's credit both. I think both Chaku and me, she did MD medicine and then she came back to emergency medicine.
Thank you, Dr. Priyanka. Anybody else from the audience who wants to say a few words? Dr. Jerry, yes.
So good morning, everyone. Good morning. Okay. So good morning, ma'am. Good morning, Giri sir. I think he's a little busy. So for people who know me, hi again. For people who don't know me, I'm Dr. Jerry Jacob. I finished my MBBS from St. John's from 2009 batch. I went on to do my bond, which was in Wayanad. Finished my bond, came back here for MD Emergency Medicine. Was here with ma'am and the team for 3 years. And then went on to finish my DNB Emergency Medicine. And currently I'm working as a senior resident, finished my AP interview. Hopefully they promote me. So I'm going to keep this talk as casual as possible. I stand here with immense gratitude. That is the first thing I wanted to say. The most important thing is disclaimer is that you all can laugh whenever you all want. You all can howl, throw things at me. If you all disagree, please feel free to say so because all of you have mics. And if you all agree, please clap or, encourage me. So the reason I'm standing here is very simple. It's out of gratitude for this institute, for my alma mater, and for the Department of Emergency Medicine. Because if I am what I am today, it's because of St. John's Emergency. One simple example is that we are all on that WhatsApp group, right? It's the Jubilee WhatsApp group. So immediately when you have a lot of people, adding you to multiple WhatsApp groups recently or off late, what do we do first? Leave the group, right? As soon as the group is created, 30 people leave the group, 40 people leave the group. And after that, there is, no activity in the group at all. For example, the SimWars group, we have a group, but nobody left because they are coming for the competition. But there was no active participation as such. But this is one group where every single one of them, mostly 90% of the people, all of them had only good things to say. What does that say to us? If 90% of people in a group are saying good things about an institute, about one department, what does it mean? That means all of them are so grateful to this department. And that is the single most important reason that I'm standing here, because of gratitude. Second most important thing is, they say grass is greener on the other side. How many of you agree? Only Brian agrees. Huh? Priyanka ma'am, half a mind? Yeah. Yes. So I went to the other side, which is another institute. So is grass greener on the other side? No, I think you start growing it is what ma'am says. I think if George sir was here, I think we could have had a few, appointments and interviews for back to John's probably. So grass, if people feel like Brian feels grass is greener on the other side, you're terribly wrong. Grass is not greener on the other side. Why? Because grass is always greener at home. And which is home? This is home. Right? So St. John's is home. So grass is always greener here. I'm not trying to compare. So there are 2 or 3 other institutes that I went to. I know ma'ams have gone to multiple other institutes. So they were just conducting some AHA related programs. So this came to my mind multiple times. So we are instructors, we go and conduct the program. So I just looked at the background team. There were 2 software developers, 1 person for AV, 1 person, 2 people or housekeeping staff to supply the things or bring the things and keep it ready, 3 nurses to arrange the things and keep all the tablets ready. But when I kept thinking about it, during our tenure in John's, it was only 1 person. And that was Shekhar. 1 person, 1 trolley. That's all. All mannequins in the place, laptop, CD, everyone. So Shekhar, I will always remember you. Yeah. Now to all of my staff, I've seen multiple staffs in other institutes. No one puts an IV line as fast as these guys. I've seen people calling anesthesia, people calling, asking for vein light, people asking us to put central line, EJV. Our staff used to get lines in minutes. So I've never seen that across anywhere. So kudos to the whole nursing college and to the training that they've given there, because there is none like you. There is nobody like you. I'm saying this with conviction. There is no nurse like the nurse from here. Then coming to our EMTs. Brothers, you'll always have my heart, all of you sitting there, always. Because when you all receive a patient, I can hear, what do you all say outside if the patient is not well? Crash, right? Even if we are sitting inside the room, in the duty room, anywhere, eating, we can hear that crash. And worst, what is the best part? You're on the trolley giving CPR. For you, seconds matter. Other institutes, they receive the patient, they slowly pull the trolley and come, they're like, oh, so that is the situation. So if we are, hardcore from the door till the patient leaves our department or goes to any other department, I think no one will beat us. So if I am what I am today, if all of you are what you are today, I can safely say without getting beaten, it's because John's played a big part in our lives. Am I right or am I wrong? Yes. So please clap. No? Finally, ma'am, I've spoken to you before. 3 years of my post-graduation, ma'am never said anything to me. After my post-graduation, 1 year got over, I came back for the graduation. So I received some award for best outgoing student or postgraduate student. So when my mom, I told my parents, if you want to know what sort of student I was, please go and ask ma'am. Don't ask me, because I think ma'am likes me because she's not scolded me yet. So my parents went and asked ma'am, how was he as a student? So ma'am said only good things. So to all the students, this is my message to all the PGs and students. If ma'am or sir does not commend you on a daily basis, does not mean you're not good. It just means you can do better. Okay, so don't be depressed that, they're not saying good, keep it up, patting your back. I used to feel bad at a certain point of time. I was like, I put that center line in minutes, ma'am's not saying anything only. INR was 6, Girish sir said, it's either you or me, but since I have taught you, you go for it. I think because sir was scared it'll bleed. So he was like, put it on the PG. Jerry will do it. Hey, ma'am, Jerry did it. It's bleeding, what to do? It was ESU case. I was like, sir, me, INR 6, art line is required. Ma'am, sir, art line, not even center line. He's like, yeah, go for it. I know you. I have confidence in you. So all of these things which backed us up and made us do these procedures. I know he was, setting me up for the fall, but unfortunately, we rose back from that because of the training. So all of those small things. So ma'am and sir might not tell you, the residents of this batch and the junior batches, ma'am and sir might not tell you. It's because they want you to be the best. And once you go out, only simple example, first 6 months, every case I shifted to the ICU. I just used to put my sign and seal. The only thing they used to ask is, where is this fellow from? The ICU doctors, where is this fellow from? They didn't even bother to, ask me what is the treatment. They're like, where is this fellow from? The residents were taking photos. And photos of what? Of the protocol we followed here, which we are following since time immemorial. Residents are taking photos of that, of what we've learned, what is stuck on our walls. So what else can I say? What more gratitude is left for me to, offer? This is nothing. And St. John's is the best. There is no doubt about it. One of the best ERs in the country from north till south. No doubts. Thank you, ma'am, for, having me as a part of your team. And I hope I do justice to all of you in my future. Thank you.
Thank you, Jerry, as always, for cheering the crowd and declaring our department the best from north to south. Anybody else from the audience would like to say a few words? Dr. Aisha, perhaps?
Hello, everyone. It's lovely to come back to St. John's. It feels like home. It is a family. From Shaku ma'am, Girish sir, Mabel ma'am as well. It's been a home for me. It's been a home for most of us. It's lovely to see everyone here. Some people you haven't met for even 10 years, but you just meet them and it's just like going back 10 years ago. Met Tanveer after a long time and he's like, do you remember Praveen sir's party? I said, yes, I was a junior PG and I was involved in that party and it was lovely to say a few words. Everyone who attended it will know what I mean. But as we said, we take whatever we've learned here and we go wherever we are. We continue to be as we work because of the people who taught us. And they taught us, besides emergency medicine, a lot about compassion, a lot about working as a team. So everyone is very different. I remember very distinctly, Praveen sir one day told me, please stop, just stand back, don't do any work, just take 2 steps back and watch the department, see what's happening. And I still use that today, looking at and figuring out where I can move things around, who's doing work and who's not doing work. So thank you, sir. I think as the first PG, I literally got special treatment in terms of good things and bad. So all my flaws were known. I still remember going to Shaku ma'am after about three months in, and we went through everything I knew. And she was very disappointed because I actually told her I couldn't put a cannula on one of the veins. And she's like, why is that? Let's make sure that we do that. Or calling her up in the middle of the night and discussing cases in the ICU. I'm sure everyone remembers calling her up with all the files and you're looking through the files and remembering what the normal potassium was. And Shaku ma'am will be like, okay, what is the potassium? And you feel like the potassium was okay. And she'll remember, no, it was not 4.5, it was 4.6. So that's the attention to detail that she's given us. And I think I speak from everyone who's here and who's not here, that St. John's will always be our home. And we love emergency medicine and we love our time in St. John's. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Aisha. I request Dr. Girish Narayan, Professor in the Department of Emergency Medicine, to deliver the vote of thanks.
People from our department never cease to surprise. This vote of thanks is going to be quite drab compared to the people who spoke so far. I'll do my best. So, good morning, everyone. I thank all of you for being here. This day marks a significant milestone as we all come together to celebrate the Silver Jubilee of our department. On this occasion, I have to extend the department's gratitude and everyone who's worked here to many people who've supported us on the journey so far. I have to start by expressing our deep appreciation to our director, Reverend Father Paul Parataram. His years of service here, his leadership, he's supported us in times when we were understaffed, really had our back, and we will miss him, but his legacy is a part of our department. Dr. Father Yesudas is not here, but we look forward to his leadership coming forward and the challenges that he will embrace along with us. We extend our heartfelt thanks to Associate Director of Finance, Associate Director of Hospital, and the Associate Directors of College in absentia for all their stewardship over the years and the support they continue to give our department. Our deans, Dr. George, his guidance and mentorship has been instrumental in nurturing our department. Dr. Tony, he's cultivated an element of discovery in our department, and we hope to take that forward. A special salute to our CMS, CNS, and Principal of College of Nursing. Their efforts and their compassionate leadership, especially through our nurses, always helps us do a better job. So I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge the support we get from other departments. They're always there for us to back us up. They tolerate us when we do things wrong, and we trouble them quite a bit. But we work well together, and without them, we wouldn't be here today. And they really have our backs when we need help, and I can't thank them enough. Departments of pharmacy, our social workers, who we trouble quite a bit. Sachin's laughing over there, but he's our go-to. And, you know, they synchronize their efforts with us, and it's only with that do we do our best for our patients. So the people I would really like to thank on behalf of all our doctors, when I asked our doctors, who do I have to thank? Their first answer they give us is our nurses. I mean, they're the heart and soul of our department. We're privileged to be a part of our team. They work exceptionally well. We don't treat them well a lot of times, and we're always running back to them when we need our help. Our aides, our workers, our helpers, you know, we really feel for them. They have to walk so far. We trouble them with samples again and again, shift our patients. And, you know, a lot of times the work they do goes unnoticed, but we do remember you. That's what I'm trying to say. Our department is a testament to the collective efforts of our alumni and our students, former, current, our staff from the past, and who are going on in the future. Everybody comes to John's and leaves. Jerry said everything except about the grass on the other side. Their salaries could take some improvement, we all know, but so we do miss you all, and all that you did when you were here, and, you know, calling you up. The family spirit we have is something I've not felt anywhere else. So looking back at 25 years, I have to talk about the two individuals that come to mind. Everybody kept telling me, you have to say something. So Dr. Mabel, her remarkable foresight and perseverance, you know, it brought us to this place today. She worked so hard those days. I was in the ICU and I wanted to come down to the ER, and there was no vacancy in the department. And then she said, Girish, go work in the ICU. Eventually I came back. You know, her compassion, you know, how she stood for everything those days. Shaku ma'am, she's been in this department for 23 years. The last 13, she's headed this, you know, kept the flame burning, and her tireless commitment to all of us every day, it's something we can't forget. Sorry, it's hard. And, you know, they've really created a legacy for all of us to continue. I don't think it's something that, you know, we'll forget very soon. And, you know, the Department of Emergency Medicine never closes. Even now we have team members on the floor. Ashish has been taking phone calls. Tom has been taking phone calls for things that are happening on the floor. And some of them are coming back to an evening shift and night shift. And, we wouldn't be there if they weren't over there working for us. All of us have our colleagues back home, and that's what emergency medicine is about. So we have to thank each and every one of them. I thank you all. There's a lot of people that I have to thank. And, I can't forget Praveen, who really took care of me when I came into the department. He was Shakumam's right hand. And, when he left, he said, this is not an easy job being next to her. Okay. And yeah, but it's just, there's a lot of people to thank. Please forgive me if I've forgotten anyone. 25 years is a long journey. And we hope to take this spirit forward. It's this unyielding spirit that we won't give up. Every patient is not only just a patient, he's related to us. That's why we take care of them so well. And we look forward to the next 25 years. Thank you, one and all.
All right, thank you, sir. With that, we have come to the end of the commemoration function of the 25 years of emergency department. Request all the dignitaries and the delegates to join us for high tea outside the auditorium.